Now I'm going to move to the listening PPT, which I was sharing earlier. I told you I'm skipping the listening and going to the reading directly. So now I'm going to share the listening PPT. We'll go through this and then we will do a small exercise on listening as well. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
I'm sharing. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just enlarging the screen. Now, all of you can do one thing. We have a lot of training videos in our YouTube channel. So please go to YouTube. If you're using your laptops now, go to your phone or laptop. Go to YouTube on your phone or on your laptop. Type Hooray, Hurray, space IELTS, comma PT, comma PT. Sorry. Once you do this, you'll see our logo Hooray. Click on our logo and then below that, click on subscribe. Please tell me after subscribing, I'll tell you what to do.
Just a minute. Can you please help me out
Yeah, just go to YouTube and type Hooray, IELTS. In the search bar on YouTube, type Hooray with this spelling and this logo. You may not get the logo, just type Hooray, space IELTS, comma PTE. Below that, you see one link has come, overseas education.
Yeah, just.
If you get that, click on that overseas education link. This is our YouTube channel.
The logo is there.
Yeah, logo is there. Okay, click on the logo. Below that, there's a red button, subscribe. You can just click on the subscribe button. Have you done that?
Yep, I've done it.
Okay. Now, Andre, on top, you see home page, videos, playlists. Can you see playlists on top?
Yeah.
Okay, click on playlists. All of you click on playlists on top. And on the right side, you will see a lot of videos, grammar videos, 17, IELTS speaking tutorials. You'll have PT in between, OET. You have IELTS reading, writing, speaking, listening, all the four. A lot of tutorials. So each question type has a training video. So during these 4 days, please watch all these videos and become familiar with all the tips and techniques so that the exam, the tests become easier for you. These are all training videos with PPTs and voiceovers.
Okay, this is a Hooray English and overseas.
Yes, correct. Yes, correct, Vivek. You can just click on that and click on subscribe.
Yeah. Done.
And after subscribing, you see playlists on top. Home videos, playlists. Click on playlists, and you'll have access to all the videos, all our training videos.
Okay.
So every day, watch many videos. Go module by module, first listening, reading, writing, and speaking, and then you'll become familiar. There are lots of videos in each of those folders. There are lots tutorials, not folders. There are tutorials which contain a lot of videos because each question type has a different video. True, false, not given, one video. For matching information, one video. For filling in the gaps, one video. Similarly, for listening, writing, different types of essays, different types of letters, and different types of report writings. Speaking, part 1, part 2, part 3. They're all separate videos. Please go through them. They're very useful. Okay, now I'm going to share. I'm already sharing my screen. Let's look at the listening quickly, and then you can see the basic tips and do one listening test, and we'll be done for the day. We have finished this one. Now we're coming to the listening. Yeah, the listening has 40 questions, same like reading. It has 40 questions totally, and there are the 40 questions are divided into 10 questions each. There are 4 parts. Each part has 10 questions. The audio part is for 30 minutes. When you listen to it only once, recording is played once only, and you have to write your answers simultaneously. But in between, you will get half-minute gaps to go through the questions. They will tell you, they'll give you instructions as to, go through questions 1 to 5, 6 to 10, and you can go through those particular questions. When the audio starts playing, you then need to start writing your answers as you listen. They're not going to give you separate time to write your answers. They will not stop the audio. They will keep talking As they are speaking, you have to keep marking your answers and moving on. If you don't find any answer, just keep moving on, because you can come back to that question later. So for three parts, it goes on like this. Part 1 is from 1 to 10. Part 2 is from 11 to 20 questions. And part 3 is from question number 21 to 30. Part 4 is from 31 to 40. So you finish 40 questions. The audio time, as I said, is 30 minutes. Plus, you have 10 minutes extra time to transfer your answers from the booklet, answer booklet, to your answer sheet. As I told you earlier, you have to scribble the answers, because you're listening and writing. You have to be very quick. You cannot write slowly and neatly. So you may have to use some short forms or some codes or some symbols. But when you transfer your answers in the end, in the last 10 minutes, you have to write all in capital letters with a dark pencil into your answer sheet, OMR sheet, which I mentioned earlier. So here you cannot use symbols. You cannot write any short forms. Like and, you cannot use the symbol. You have to write the expansion AND. You can't put EX, for example, and things like that. So wherever you're allowed to write numbers, you can write numbers, but where you're not allowed to write numbers, you have to spell out the number. Here again, it's very important to read instructions. At the end, from 31 to 40, they will not separate the questions as 5 and 5. They will just give you time to go through questions 31 to 40. So before that, the end of each section or each part, they give you half a minute to check your answers. Look for spelling mistakes or any grammatical mistakes and fill up the blanks. At that time, what you do is check all your answers and move to the next part. But for the third part, they give you half a minute, finish looking at your answers in 15 seconds, and then move to the fourth section, or fourth part. Because for fourth part, they don't split into 5 and 5 questions. They give you total time to go to 31 to 40. So you need a little more time, because there are long answers there generally. And they're also the toughest. The toughest part is 31 to 44th part. So you need more time. So start looking at the questions there and predicting your answers. Now on the right side, you will see that the types of questions are written. So you have multiple choice questions, just like reading.
I've
Also
got
have fill in
a
the blanks.
small doubt.
Yes, Andre.
Because the tougher questions, do they carry more marks?
No. So all the answers are equally marked. See the last one on the left side. Each correct answer carries 1 mark. It's on the PPT here, the last point on the left. Each correct answer carries only 1 mark. 40 questions, 40 marks.
Okay.
No extra marks. Yeah, unfortunate, but what to do? So there are no extra marks. That's a good question though. All right. And if the spelling is wrong here, you get it'll be marked wrong. You won't get marks for that. It'll be 0. So you see multiple choice questions, MCQs, then table completion, form completion, sentence completion. These are all fill in the blanks. You'll have map labeling, diagram labeling, or plan labeling. The questions have to be answered as per instructions, and use capital letters or block letters in your OMR sheet when you transfer your answers. Better to use a dark pencil for the paper-based exam, so that when they scan your answer sheet, it captures it easily. Don't use a light pencil, because the scanner may not capture your answers. For computer-based exam, you will get 2 minutes time at the end to go through all your answers. You will not get separate time to transfer answers to the answer sheet, because you're typing only. When you're typing anyway, the letters are clear. You don't have to write once again. Okay, so wherever you've used short forms, you can just expand them, correct it in the last 2 minutes. But for the paper-based test, after each part, each section, after each 10 questions, you get half a minute. So those 4 half minutes are added, made into 2 minutes for the computer-based exam. Totally, you get a chunk of 2 minutes to go through all your answers at one stretch. But in paper-based test, is divided under each part. You get under each 10 questions. At the end of every 10 questions, you get half a minute. It's the same time, but it's split up into 4 parts. Right, now let's move to the next slide. Let's look at the 4 parts. The level of difficulty of conversation increases in an ascending order, and the tape will be played from 1 to 40 in order. The answers will always be in order. It will not be like reading. You have to search for the answers in between. They're all mixed up. So it has to be in order, because you're listening to the audio. Can't give you the audio first and give you the answer somewhere later. So it's all from 1 to 40 played in order. The part 1 is generally a conversation between 2 people in an everyday social situation. Some kind of social setup. The discussion will be there. between two people. Part 2 is a monologue. What does monologue mean? Monologue, mono, dialogue, monologue. What is mono? Any idea, anyone? No? What mono means, monologue? Can you guess what it could be? No idea? Okay, monologue is a single person talking. Dialogue is two people talking. Di means two, mono means one. Monochrome means single color, monochrome. Chrome is color. So monologue is one person talking in an everyday situation, in a social situation. Part 3 will be a discussion amongst 2, 3 or 4 people, maximum 4 people. But this situation is not social, it is educational or training based context. And part 4 again is a monologue in an academic situation. It could be one person talking on an academic subject. Part 3 is a discussion, maybe some students are discussing their project work, or a student counselor talking to students who come for admission. He or she is giving details about the courses in the university. So that will be part 3, it's a discussion. Part 4 is again one person talking. This example could be a person, a lecturer, a trainer, or a teacher giving a discourse, talking, teaching somebody in the class. It's on an academic subject, but one person will be talking. There's no discussion involved here. That's a fourth, which is a monologue. And the level of conversation increases from part 1 to part 4. Okay, now let's look at the listening tip. Follow the conversation. Why do you need to follow the conversation? One is to understand what they're talking about. Okay. And the second reason is to identify what the speakers are talking about. What are they talking about? Are they talking about some details like house numbers, addresses, or the size of an object, color of an object, shape of an object? They're giving details. So you need to listen carefully for all this. You also need to listen, follow the conversation so that you're able to follow the signpost words. I'll tell you what signpost words are in the next few slides. I'll explain in detail with examples. You have to pay attention to word limits like you did in reading, the instructions, how many words you can use and not to use. So when they give you, for example, complete a sentence. If you're asked to complete a sentence using no more than 2 words, if the correct answer is leather coat, it's 2 words. And if you write coat made of leather, 4 words, will it be marked correct or wrong? Yes. Very good, Sonia. It's wrong because you've exceeded the word limit. You've not listened to the instruction and not followed it. Sorry. Just a minute. Excuse me. Yes, thank you. I'm back. You're supposed to follow the instructions. If the word limit is 2 words, you have the option of writing 2 words or 1 word because it is within that limit. It's not exceeding. The instruction will be write no more than 2 words. They say write no more than, which is here on the second line, third line. Complete a sentence using no more than 2 words. So can it be less than 2 words? Yes or no?
No.
Why not? They're saying how many? Yes, you can.
Yeah.
They're not saying less. They're not saying minimum. They're only saying maximum.
Yeah,
Upper limit, 2 words. Less, you don't know. Like you saw in reading, some answers with only 1 word. Though you could write 2 words, you had decision maker, or you could write no more than 2 words. But you wrote publications for the 23rd one, which is 1 word. Profile, 25th audience, 26th purpose, all had only 1 word. But the upper limit, they said, choose no more than 2 words from the text for each answer. You could write up to 2 words, but it should not exceed. It should not be more, but it can be less. So if the answer requires 1 word and they allow you to write 2 words, just write 1 word. If they allow you to write 3 words and your answer is only 2 words, you write only 2 words. You don't have to fill something just to fill up that space and make it 3 words. Just saying you should not write more than that. It can be less. If you write more, it will be marked wrong. If it's less and if the answer is correct and adequate, you will get 1 mark for that. Another example here is Suppose the question asks you to complete notes in the dash. Here, in the dash. The correct answer is morning, in the morning. Note that if you write in the morning, it would be incorrect. Why is that? Because in the is already printed. Your answer should be only morning, because morning is the blank word. Word in the blank which you're filling is morning. So when you're transferring your answers to your answer sheet, write only morning. Don't write in the. In the is already printed. So it's not a part of your answer. You have to write only what you have written when you are listening. Only the missing word has to be transferred to your answer sheet. Another common example for this is, it would give you currency symbol. For example, dollar, pound, or euro, or rupees. They'll put the symbol, they'll print it, and you are expected to write only the amount. Suppose it is $75,000 symbol is printed. In the blank, you are writing 75,000 in numbers. Because they'll write, you can write one word and or a number. And slash or means it can be only a number. And it can be one word or a number. It can be one word plus a number. And means plus, or means anyone. So you're writing 75,000. Now, when you transfer this answer to the answer sheet, OMR sheet at the end in the 10 minutes time, you need to write only 75,000 and not copy the symbol dollar or rupees or whatever, because it was already printed. That's not part of your answer. So please take care of this. Even if you write dollar at the end in words, it will be marked wrong. It's a repetition. So see, look carefully what is printed and what is not printed. You transfer only the answers which you write, not the entire one. Similarly, you may have dash and road. Maybe a name of a road. For example, Magrath Road. Road is already printed in the question booklet. You are only writing Magrath. When you transfer your answers, you write only Magrath. It may look incomplete. It doesn't matter. You have to transfer only your answers, not what is already printed. That's not your answer. All right. Now let's look at the signpost words. Signpost words are words when you are labeling a map or a diagram, especially, or a plan, a house plan, or a building plan, a diagram, or a map. Use a lot of signpost words like the left of, to the right of, in the center, the north, to the south, to the east, to the west. So you should know your directions well. You also may get shapes of objects, sizes and colors of objects. All these are details which direct you to the answer. They are directional terms and they are labeled as signpost words in IELTS in the listening. Here, there's a very important tip where you have to, since it's a listening test, not reading, you're not seeing the text, you're listening. So you have to listen out for word stress and intonation. Here, there are two sentences which are absolutely the same, they're identical, but where the underline is different. So you have to look at the underlined word. Here, the first sentence is, Tom is going to the market, stress is on Tom. And the second sentence, stress is on market. Tom is going to the market. So when they say these sentences, listen for what they're stressing on. That stressed word would be your answer. So you have to keep your ears keen in listening to how the stresses, the voice modulation, the intonation of the speaker. Thereby, it's a clue for you to get your answers easily. The next point is infer the meaning from the speech, especially MCQs. Even in reading, you have to infer, because they won't give the same sentence or option which they're talking about. They'll say something in different words, but the options in the MCQ will be different words. So you have to infer, listen to the entire talk for about 5 or 10 seconds, then understand what that means. And then you have to choose your answer from the given options. Many times the words and sentences are different from what they speak. So you have to infer the meaning. Infer means to understand from the context. It's not guessing, but understanding from the situation and context, you can extract the answer. The other point is to identify synonyms, same like reading. The synonyms will you see what word they're using in the audio clip and what word is given in the question booklet. Many times are different. So you need to understand the synonyms, you need to know synonyms, identify them, and choose your answer. Be equipped with meanings of difficult words. This is about vocabulary. You have a rich vocabulary, you should understand meanings of words, many words as you can. That's why I told you to go to the Dropbox in the book called Letters and Essays, August 2021. There's a book. In that book, you have a lot of vocabulary, topic-wise vocabulary for each subject. For writing also, vocabulary is important. And for speaking, it's called lexical resource, one of the parameters for writing and speaking. For reading and listening, vocabulary is also important because they use a lot of new difficult words which you may not be familiar with. You did this reading test. I'm sure you came across some words which were not so common and a little difficult for you. So if you build up your vocabulary and equip yourself, meanings of difficult words, these tests become very easy for you. The other thing is to read the questions beforehand and predict the forms of the missing word, especially in fill in the blanks, completing sentences and notes. What you do is they will give you half a minute to go through the questions, read the questions. If they say 1 to 5 or 6 to 10 or 11 to 15, go to those questions, see what comes before and after the blank, underline those keywords, and understand and predict what form of word would be there. Like I told you in reading, look out whether it's a noun form that would fit in, whether it's an action, whether it should be a verb, whether it should be an adjective or adverb. These would give you a hint, and this would give you tips as to what the answer could be. You cannot predict the exact answer, but you can understand and predict the forms of the missing word. Be aware of distractors. Distractors means one distractor could be the changing of answers. They will say something, they may talk, they may discuss, and you will be very happy that you found the answer. You will mark your answer, and after 2 seconds, they'll say, however, but, and they'll change the context and change the answer. They'll say the opposite. They'll say something different. Then you have to be aware, alert, and mark that as your answer. Change the other answer, strike it, and write it. And then when you're transferring your answer to the answer sheet, you write it neatly. In between, don't waste time erasing with your rubber and wasting your time. At the end, you write neatly in your answer sheet. That is why they give you time to transfer your answers neatly onto a separate answer sheet, because while writing fast, there'll be a lot of scratches or overwriting, changing answers because of distractors. So this 10 minutes time is very important. One more reminder for you, I would like to give you a tip. Please do not try to transfer the answers while you're writing in the first place. This would be a distractor for you. You would not be able to focus on what they're saying. You may miss out some crucial points. You may lose marks because of that. In class, in spite of saying this many times, some students, I don't know why they're in a hurry to finish fast. I think they want to finish during the test time. They want to transfer answers. What happens is they miss out the content. They miss out the audio file. They miss it and they get it wrong. Don't worry about the answer sheet. Keep it away till you finish 40 questions. Listen to the audio. Focus on that. Concentrate. Then you get 10 long minutes. It's ample time to transfer all your answers. So don't be in a hurry. Don't be hasty. Be calm. Do it well. If you learn the proper way, you will do well in the exam. That is why we give you these tips, so that you don't make the mistakes and learn. Before you making the mistake, we're telling you, please avoid those mistakes. The other distractor could be to correct answers occurring. Correct answer will come at the end of the conversation. We may talk for 10 seconds or 15 seconds on a topic. And when we're listening for 15 seconds, sometimes that it sounds very long, a long time to listen to. And at the end of the conversation, the answer would come. What happens is, I may think, okay, the answer is gone. I've skipped it. I didn't find it. It's over. What will happen is I'll start getting worried and I won't listen to the remaining part. And what happens is at the end, the answer will come and then it's gone. I miss it again. So please don't worry. That's again a distractor in listening. So just listen till the end patiently. Then you look at the question and see what your answer could be and you write your answer. Now let's look at some other tips. Use the correct spelling, as points are lost for incorrect spelling, same like reading. Incorrect spelling, spelling errors would be marked wrong. Long, difficult words, spellings are dictated. When you get a foreign word, a long word which we are not familiar with, they would dictate the spelling. As soon as they dictate any spelling, please write it down, because spelling, the words which are spelled are always answers. Otherwise, they do not waste their time giving you spellings. When they spell out a word, you can be sure that it is an answer. Please write down as you're listening, put it down and later write it neatly. MCQs, use elimination technique and eliminate what's obviously wrong. If you know for sure, okay, this obviously is wrong, it is not correct, you can cross it off, eliminate it. And then on MCQs especially, keep a bird's eye view on all the other options. While listening, keep looking at all the options. Then at the end, you choose one answer. Sometimes in MCQs, it's always choosing one answer, but there's a different kind of question where you have to choose from a list. That you can choose. Suppose it's A and D. They may say you A and D as the choices, but from those options, suppose you write D first and then you find A, because the conversation may not be in order. If you write D and A for A and D, you will still get marks correct for that. So suppose number 30 and 31, A and D, you write 30 as D and 31 as A, you will still get marks for those two. Only for those questions you can write it in different orders, but otherwise you have to follow the order questions. Now for date format, you have to use single dots. Now single dots means you have to write, suppose the date is 23rd January 2022, you have to put 23.01.2022. Okay. So first is DD, date, then MM, 01 is MM. You don't write only 1, so MM means 01, till 9 is 09, then 10 is 10. YY means 2022. Don't write only 22. It can be 1922. We don't know. So you have to write 2022 or 1975 or whatever, the full year, 4 numbers. And slashes, like bars and slashes are not allowed. Dashes also are not allowed. 23-01 not allowed. Only single dots are accepted as correct answer. The other one is the year is not given. Now, suppose let's say 22 is not given as a year. You can write 23rd January, full form January, no writing short forms, no JAN, FEB, and MAR, OCT, no VDC, no short forms. You have to write the entire word. You can write 23 and RD, that is the ordinal number, or you can leave out RD, only 23 January is also correct. But if they're dictating January 23rd, you write January first and then 23rd. Or if they're saying January 23, write January 23. So depending on how they say it, it's better you write as per verbatim. The time format is again using single dots between the numbers, no using colon like 2 dots, 8:30 p.m. So it's 8:30 p.m., 8:30 p.m. You can write capital PM or small PM, both are fine. Both these are counted as one number. It's not a separate word. PM is not a word. PM is one unit coming along with the time. If it's in the morning, you write 11 AM. AM small letters or both caps or both small. If it's 11 AM, if you write 11:00 AM, it's also fine, but it's a waste of time instead of writing 00. You can write 11 AM like this. Only single dots when there are minutes after that. Okay, if it's 8:10 or 8:20 or don't write railway time. Don't write 24-hour format like 10 o'clock is 21 hours. So now it's 9:30. 21:30 is not accepted. You can't write 21:30. You have to write 9:30 p.m. Got it? Colons are not allowed. 24-hour format is not acceptable.